All right, so this is going to be the first of reaction shows that I do. I'm starting with Ranger Reject, Go-Go Loser Ranger, depending on which version. I know there's was Sentai Daishiki Kaku as the Japanese version. I like Ranger Reject. I feel like Ranger Reject, it feels more, if I had to guess, you know, I'm sure somebody can correct me in the comments about what the name is, because Go-Go Loser Ranger just seems more like a reference to Go-Go Power Ranger. And I know that obviously Power Rangers is based off of the Sentai, but there's a core similarity, but there obviously are differences between them. And so for backstory, I am a big Power Rangers fan. I've seen almost every season. I haven't watched the Cosmic Fury, and I haven't watched Beast Morphers, but I've watched relatively everything else besides that, and I've read the comics, I've seen the movies. Favorite season is Lost Galaxy. Leo Corbett, best Red Ranger in my opinion. It's got the Magna Defender. Favorite Sixth Ranger, don't care what anyone says. He is a Sixth Ranger in my opinion. Magna Power is a thing. I mean, it's like, well, what is? It's not a color. So is Quantum Power. Quantum isn't a color. Irrelevant. I could go on all day for that, just because obviously, as a, you know, this is something I've been mad about for decades at this point. Oh yeah, Lost Galaxy started in '99, so it's been a long time as a existent issue. I imagine it was probably not talked about originally, but you know, at some point down the line, I know there's some. I can see one of my cats staring at me in the back with those glowing eyes. The Tartaros? That's not Tartaros. No, it is. Hey, buddy. But yeah, we're gonna be getting to it. I will make sure to keep any of the hype parts in the actual reaction, and then I'll take out like all the parts where it's just like nothing's going on. I will not watch the opening, but I will listen to it, and then I will watch the opening whenever the season concludes, because this is actually one of the shows that I have not seen. There's a couple things that I want to do on the channel that I have already seen. Like, I want to do a Fairy Tail rewatch just before 100 Years Quest anime comes out. I know a decent amount of like Frieren, but I didn't watch Frieren. I have a hate towards elves, but it has mimics in it, and I love mimics, so I'm gonna probably check that out. Bungo Stray Dogs from my dude Ken Mano, and there'll be a couple other things, because there's a degree of stuff that I do know of. Like, I'm gonna probably watch Kaiju number 8. I've read a chunk of the manga, but it's been so long that I don't remember a whole lot of it. Like, I don't really remember characters or anything like that. I just remember gists of parts that happened, so it's still going to be fairly fresh. Whereas this is a show that I actually have been very much avoiding spoilers, and I have not read the manga because I wanted to watch the anime. Because most of the time, whenever like something really interesting comes out, I've already read the manga or I read the manga, but I really wanted to watch this as the anime, so I figured I would save it. Anyway, let's get going with it. I know the base premise. It's kind of like that show The Boys, where, you know, the whole idea is like, what if the superheroes were actually kind of douchebags? But it's with, you know, Sentai Rangers pretty much. So I want to see how this plays out. I'm very interested in how the story goes. Outside of, like I said, the premise, I don't know anything about the series. I don't know any of the characters. I don't know any plot points. I don't know exactly what the main character's thing is, other than I would assume that the actual Rangers are complete dickheads. But we'll see how exactly it goes. So let's get into it. I'm very actually excited for this. I really want to watch this. This has been one of the things that I've anticipated the most in seeing for like upcoming series. I'm gonna keep my screen over here. That way, if I want to address the mic and I'm not looking at the screen, it makes it very easy contrast of like, okay, you know, I'm looking at what's going on versus doing it. Okay, so we got the General Rangers. We got Green. Green is always, in my opinion, one of the like very underlooked Rangers. Pink, not a lot of the Pink Rangers I'm huge on, except for Jen. There's Yellow. Yellow is usually like a weird wild card. And then obviously Red. Head guy, leader. Usually carries a majority of the importance on the team. I'm curious to know what exactly So the Dragon Keepers. So is that what their group is called? That's pretty cool. So I wonder, is it... Oh, my cat is yelling. I wonder, is it like... Hold on, I want to grab that cat if she doesn't stop yelling. 1 second. Let's say, let me grab this cat. Where are you? Down here. I can't get you out if you're stuck down there. Down here. Okay. I don't know if I can get her out. The box. Good? Are you gonna come down? Okay. I don't know if I can get her out. She has to go to the bottom platform for me to get her out, but she doesn't want to come down. Oh, hang on. She might actually be coming down. Are you coming down? Hold on. Let me get this cat. Oh, wait. First bit in. You can skip over, I guess, this part. Mostly just cat acquisition. So what I'm wondering right now, I gotta pause, so I might as well give some thoughts. I really like how, like, in the background, sometimes when my cats look over from their little indoor catio, you just see little glowing eyes. It looks a little spooky. So it's like, the only thing I'm wondering right now, are these guys, it's almost like staged when it comes to their stuff, or is it more of, oh yeah, you know, the villains have their stuff going on, and it's like, yeah, they generally attack weekly kind of thing, kind of like the idea of obviously weekly episodes. Ready, lay down, bud. My dog loves this cat. Please sit down. Oh gosh. As long as she doesn't wander around too much. She's just in heat, so she's a little loud. So these Red Keeper, that makes sense because it's their whole theme version of what they're called. Keeper Red or Red Keeper, whatever. I like that they went with a very straightforward theme for them as well, like dragons. It's like usually dinosaurs is like one of the default good seasons, like at least for Power Rangers, I know. Usually when it's dinosaurs, there's a much higher chance of it being higher quality versus like, yeah, trucks. Unless we're talking about RPM. So I'm guessing this guy's the main character. Yeah, see, it's similar to what I understood of kind of like The Boys-ish, where it's like these guys are all hyper corporated and they you know, do a lot of product placement and they do a lot of stuff for money. So they're probably corrupt. But I'm wondering if they're gonna, this is at least something for me, I wonder if at some point they're gonna do like a sixth ranger. Like maybe whatever, halfway through, like whatever the story is, and it seems like things are starting to shift towards the main cast of whatever the main guy's goal is. I don't know, taking down these dudes. And then you have a sixth ranger come in. That'd be really cool, personally. I need the subtitles to keep up, because so far they're lagging a little behind. Oh, so these are recruiters. They're just trying to get this dude into their squad. I'm gonna constantly look over just to make sure things are going good on my OBS. But I like that, I really like just the quick motions of looking over and I see like my cats. Like you see Tartaros right there in the corner. They got their whole base. See, this already for me is very in contrast to what like my hopes are for like when it comes to a Power Ranger season. So I like that this is like how it is for the bad guys. It's like when if the Rangers are malefic, it already fits well into what would be like that for me, at least, because I really like when they're you know, their identities aren't known, when they're not public figures, when they're more kind of just like these heroes that pop up and do stuff. So dusters is what these guys are calling. This is like their version of the putties. There's their weekly monster. So is it more so of like almost like WWE stage type where like these guys have to, you know, it's more of like a show? Because I was wondering if it was going to be more of like, oh yeah, you know, we deal with monsters. These are the guys that are, you know, take the spot, fight the monsters and stuff. Keep her red. I really like the small differences between their helmets too. That's very Power Rangers-esque, Sentai-esque, whichever you want to go. Or usually there's like very mild differences for each of their helmets and stuff. I'm not a fan of when they're like all in direct unison. So I really like the idea when it's done of like the good guys or the bad guys, but it's more so like these guys do stuff, but they're the only people available, but they're kind of jerks about it. Saying this isn't a zoo, is that? It's a little offensive towards tiger people, I would assume. Sending out their dusters, these little bad guys. So what I want to know right now is primarily when it comes to the bad guys, are they all staged? Because it looks like they have powers and stuff. Weapon, like at least advanced weaponry or something that adds in addition to it. Ready? Here, bud. Lay down. He loves my cat, so he always wants to hang out with him. Because he's picking up a big ass boulder, so I assume that he's got super strength normally, and it's not like a staged plastic boulder of no actual weight. Ready, come here. Come here, buddy. Lay down. He wants to hang out with this cat, but I don't want him harassing my cats too much. You're fine, buddy. Scale's knocking stuff over. Is he gonna transform, like grow large? Okay. Okay, he turns into a truck. This is already very Ranger-esque. This is like early Power Rangers in idea, where it's like, it was way more like crazy Japanese. Because I know the Japanese will just do random shit like this for fun, where it's like, they did that a lot in the early Power Rangers, but they kind of started to teeter away from some of like the overly goofiness. Probably around In Space. Because I know Turbo had a lot of goofy bits too. And it's not like they stopped being silly, but you know what I mean when they're just like, yeah, we're gonna kind of keep it as possible towards reality. Not reality, but like keeping the tone. I really like the glowing visors. It reminds me of Time Force, the way that like some of them are shaped. So are these other dudes supposed to be their little minions? Not these guys, the two recruiters. Because it makes me wonder, is like, are these bad guys, if these guys are all ads over, let's get to it. Are these dudes just hired to do bad guy stuff? I'm very curious as to who the villain is going to be, because I know that they're going to be like the main character is going to obviously be against the Rangers, and the Rangers are going to be the villains. But is there going to be like somebody who's in charge of like the villain group, or is it going to just kind of be they just kind of deal with it? Yeah, 13-year-long battle, 13 seasons.
なんで俺たちがこんな目に。だけどよ、こんな状況になるなんて誰が想像できたよ。たった1年でこの富裕省が陥落、すでに幹部が壊滅してるなんてよ。俺たち戦闘。
So is he gonna take over for these dudes and try and lead them into victory? I want to know when I'm gonna see exactly when the Rangers are bad guys. Like, what is their first jerk thing to do? Or is it going to be something like the main character has a past with them already, and not he's about to learn about it? I like these dudes already, though. Because like in Power Rangers, the little foot soldiers really never talk or have any personality. It reminds me of Venture Brothers with all the Monarchs crew. Ready. Hold on a second. I just put my dog up. He's being a little too energetic right now. So let me go back to it. They even have a girl. I guess I just really just refer to them as goons. Because so are they the ones that really deal with creating all the monsters? I would like the idea of them doing it all on a whiteboard. I think that's pretty funny. Because usually every season there's a different way that they, you know, they spawn all these like villain like of the week dudes. Whether it's Rita had Finster make putties or made them out of clay, and then you had stuff like in Time Force where they had, you know, Rancic had all the mutants like from prison and stuff like that, where they were all kind of grouped in, and they would just kind of like rehydrate them, I guess. They're trying to do it for like world domination or something. Are they from a different world, or what is it? Aliens, monsters, or just humans that are pissed off? I mean, if they don't believe in their leader goals, like what exactly do these dudes even do every day? It's like 13, yeah, 1,000 times 13 years. It just seems like they're just getting milked. Yeah, every Sunday specifically. Doesn't that cat in the back just yell? This guy, what is this, like the oldest one, like the old fat guy? The only big dude. And then come here. Just gonna wander around and yell. He's around here somewhere. What would your plan be at this point? They show him books? Isn't that they just fought? Oh god, this actually really reminds me like of like early Power Rangers before they even got to Zeo. It's like there was a time where they would just reuse suits and like the same monsters, and they'd be like, yeah, remember that guy from last season? He's back. Oh god, what is that one, the pig that eats stuff? I think he's in like 3 to 4 different episodes across like a 3-year span. Because there's like 3 different times where he was the guy, and then there's like a time where they just kept bringing dudes back. Well, these are working hard. Or they're just kind of keeping it up for people, trying to keep the fire alive. Okay, so that was like a flashback, and this is where the actual episode was. I was a little confused on that. So I wonder, is this guy, is he just trying to be like the hero of the Dusters, or is he a different character? I assume that this dude has some past event with them. I like his power. Does he just become dust? Because I assume that's all of what those dudes do. So he has no actual powers other than like basic regeneration? It makes me wonder, like, what is his main character thing gonna be in terms of powers? Like, I assume obviously he's gonna start at like some clear disadvantage, and he's gonna be way weaker than a lot of the other characters. See, I would definitely root for like one of the minions who has like the courageous heart of like an actual like weak boss. I think that'd be cool. Obviously, he's not going to be as strong as them. Yeah, like he's not going to be as powerful, obviously, as this dude. But what is it's the main story plot. I assume we're going to be getting the rest of it in the next bit. Athena, come here. Have her just show up. So these guys don't get destroyed then, they just kind of get their asses beat and they leave. I guess it's because they're like, what, replenishable minions?
奴らの言いなりになるしか俺たちの生き残る術はないんだ。よく理解できた。いや、
So is he gonna like go on like a little training bit and then he comes back?
俺たちは悪役にさえ慣れてない。このままじゃ奴隷のままだ。黙ってやられる役はもうごめんだ。
あれ、びっくり。今朝の君か。こんなとこで何してんの？
高い方が戦場よく見られそうだし。
It's the when we get down to like the main premise, that's what I'm really curious about.
どうだった？日曜決戦の感想は？
やっぱ間近で見るドラゴンキーパーの迫力はすごかったな。
Is this? I wonder if this chick is like that girl Duster, or if she's someone different.
俺もあんな風になりたいよ。
I assume she's somebody different because she's fighting with him.
あるってことかな。
いいなそれ。こうなりゃ入隊試験受けてやる。
どうやらやる気は十分みたいだね。
Let me rewind a little bit because I'm gonna have to edit some shit out.
俺もあんな風になりたいよ。
おや？それは入隊の意思があるってことかな。
いいなそれ。こうなりゃ入隊試験受けてやる。
どうやらやる気は十分みたい
'Cause
だ。
I assume that we're gonna see early on like what's wrong with the Rangers and why they're actually kind of corrupt.
俺たちの敵をすべて。
But what is going to be the, main character's base thing? What is his initial drive? It's just going to be to defeat them? Because the fact he doesn't have a main character thing is one of the things that makes me most interested. Okay, so I'll give a couple minutes just general idea of at least the first episode. I'll watch the second episode since the second episode is out, and then I'll either combine them together or I'll separate them. I might separate them just to have them as two distinct things. But first episode is really interesting. I like that the main character, we didn't get a lot of direct explanations as to where these dudes are from. Does he have any past with the Rangers other than obviously like 999 conflicts and battles over 13 years, which also makes me wonder, does he not age, or like what is the whole bit about with the 13 years? Is because obviously if they're like dust beings, then it's not going to be like they're going to age regularly. I assume his humanoid form and the way that he looks outside of his suit is probably something he picks himself and not something that he is naturally with, unless it's vice versa and he got the whole outfit and dust powers later on. Because my assumption is that they're all artificial beings and they were made by the villains. Which also is really interesting too, that like the main boss villains are already dead, so we're probably going to see them in flashbacks and maybe see that like they were actually liked by the henchmen, maybe that they were cooler people. And then there wasn't anything directly to make the Rangers seem evil. Like we had them be problematic, but nothing that made them seem like vile and unforgivable or anything like that. Because the first one, we really only saw the way that he talked to the minion when he talked to the main guy. Was he Fighter M, Duster M, or whatever? And he was just kind of like telling him that he needs to just lose already. And I imagine like it's like 13 years of straight victories. You're gonna get a little arrogant. So he didn't come off as like a bad guy, but he ended up still having a little bit of smug villainy almost to him. And then we do see a lot in the episode about how they're all very franchise heavy. Like they have a lot of stuff for sale. They do a lot of branding and a lot of just product placement and stuff. I gotta get this incense out of the way. The smoke is getting in the way of the camera. And just stuff that obviously is not like a true hero. Because like I really like the Power Ranger seasons where it's their secret identity and they have like a base and they all got their own lives and stuff, but they have to come together in order to form the Power Rangers and fight the villains and just do all that kind of stuff, because it seems more of almost like a calling or something that you have to sacrifice your time for the greater good. I like the idea sometimes when it's like the hero is known to the public and people know about them, something kind of like Lightspeed Rescue, where their identities were known and they were almost pretty, I mean, essentially public figures, which was cool. But I prefer it way more kind of grounded when it comes to how they go about their heroics and their activities in fighting the villains and whatnot. So, like I said, this is very good for me because it builds a very immediate contrast to what I would consider more of like the Ranger hero, and it makes them way more so look like they're in it just for the position and less for the heroics. Because I mean, with Power Rangers too, generally they're out doing stuff and they'll get a call from whoever their, like, you know, character in the chair is. You know, you got someone like Zordon, or you got someone like, I immediately thought of Princess Shayla and I just got annoyed. Anybody who knows the character from Wild Force, very annoying, not a very good person in the chair. But you know, you have those different characters who are like, Rangers, something's up, and then they all spring into action, where it's like these guys are pretty much having the villains just go right into a spawn point, which I assume, at least what I would assume, just because they said that if I recall properly, that their floating base, you know, showed up, and I would assume, built this like coliseum underneath it. So it's like, you know, oh yeah, we know where they're gonna spawn. They make a spectating thing out of it. So it's like it's almost like we could have taken care of this, but instead we wanted to use it more for profit and entertainment, which obviously is going to be way more so not in line of like a true hero. Because there's always that idea, obviously, that they can be known, they can make money off it, but when it's very clear where they're just prolonging the problem and they're just doing what they can to keep the fame alive, you know, that's where it kind of really teeters away from the core ideas of what they're supposed to be doing. So I thought the first episode was good. It didn't feel a lot like what you would expect from a first episode. So I'm wondering if maybe the second episode will give some more light onto that, because I know this was it's like a monthly series, I believe, for the manga, so it's not gonna have that first chapter shonen kind of style. I feel like that first kind of chapter where it's, or first episode chapter where, you know, you find out the main character, you find out their goals, what their main character powers are and stuff. I always really like that, even if it's very formulaic, just because it gets you an idea of what you're going to be dealing with. And this one didn't do too much of that. It did way more of like setting the idea of kind of like putting out what you would expect from like a Power Rangers or Sentai series, but giving us some of that insight more on the villains, and, you know, the villains with the henchmen, and to see exactly what you know, what their problem is and what they're going to be doing. So I'm going to watch the second episode, and then I'll probably upload that, I want to say Wednesday, maybe, like, you know, I'd like to upload this one on Monday and then get the other one Wednesday, because Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest is on Tuesday, so I'd like to get that done same day. So other than that, comment below, tell me your thoughts about this episode. I'm very curious as to the next episode, because I'm gonna watch that, record that, and then I'm gonna do some chores. My wife beats me up. But yeah, other than that, it was solid. I thought it was a solid first episode. Nothing that kind of like threw me over the edge or kind of made me go crazy, but enough to really kind of get me invested and to see what's going on. So we'll see how it goes. But other than that, we'll see in the next one.